Yes, well, the challenges are, of course, trust. We need to build trust, and we need to convince from both sides that the MNAC, I'm not alone, I'm doing this with the UK, the US and Germany, and myself, so from the Netherlands, we are trying to convince there's only one way forward. There's only one way forward, and that's a unification of both forces under the MOPA. And there is already a first step with one Ministry of Peshmerga Affairs, so that's good. We see a strategic document that is already approved, that's good. But the next big step that we're working on is what we call an operating concept. And that's about the command and control relationship, about the structure and the force size. And that's of course difficult if there is so much distrust. Now, to be honest with you and with everybody here in Kurdistan, the military wants this. The military see the necessity of a unified force. It's the only way to make what you said, a modern, effective force for the future. And in my opinion, in order to save and secure the KRI for future generations. So it's now up to the political leadership to really have the courage to make that step and see that it's fine to bring your forces under the MOPA. The strength is a matter of practicing. And by modernizing at the same time, and of course with UAVs and other technology, it's part of this whole reform process. The first step is the unification, bringing the 70s and 80s under the MOPA, but it is not just one project. It's in total 26 projects that we as the MNAC are supporting and advising through the Reform Directorate. There's a special Reform Directorate under the MOPA to bring all these projects aligned and to an end state that I have set on 2025. We are already working since 2015, 2016, and we should put pressure on ourselves as well as the advisors, but also for the rest of the team and within the MOPA. Let's make this happen within the next 4 years. Well, to be honest, we are not having the funding like the Americans. So to be honest, really, the modernization with technology and equipment is coming from America. But before I came here, we had a training mission, and it was called the Capacity Building Mission Iraq, and with lots of trainers from all over the Dutch Defense Forces, spent here, I think almost 2.5 years with training on different levels. I like this training, but because we are in a different phase now, we are now in an advisory and monetary role. But hopefully in the future, we can develop trainings together in this area, or maybe troops from the Peshmerga forces can come to Europe and experience our training, and sometimes we train a lot in Norway or in Scotland. Who knows, that can happen. Well, I'm the ambassador. I'm not here forever. And I've been here before. I came here as a young lieutenant, crossing the border with Turkey during the uprising. As a young lieutenant, I'm now an old grey colonel. I like to come back as a friend and tourist. I'm using this phrase a couple of times during my presentations. And when I'm back in the Netherlands and you see a modern, effective Peshmerga force, it's the way we operate in the Netherlands with Western European countries as well. But also I've did trainings in Egypt. So that's what I see in the future when this force is unified, to make collaborative trainings in the area, but maybe, yeah, why not in Western Europe? For the temperature, it's a great place. Yeah. That's my conclusion after a couple of weeks, couple of months here. I'm military. I'm speaking with lots of generals. They want to unite, but most of the time they say it's on the political level. So we are speaking, of course, with our political leaders as well, with them. And hopefully I have some good news in the coming weeks, because I'm very optimistic that we right now have some kind of momentum, some traction, that they will sit together and will solve at least a big step, and that's the structure of the force, the command and control, so we can move on with all the other projects. And in my opinion, there's no time to lose to bring this forward. Yeah. Better organized, and what we use in the Netherlands and use in also with the United States Marines, we call it the philosophy of mission command, to give responsibility as low as possible so they can really decide on the scene. We call that the on-scene commanders, where there is threat in what sector, that you don't need the whole chain of command to make decisions so close at the borders or where the threat is rising. That's one aspect, but of course the implementation and the integration of UAVs is something that we are struggling with as well. It's a new technology, and it's something that we together will incorporate in the Peshmerga force of the future as well. Yes, they have, and I have set an initiative to maybe improve it with Peshmerga values. We have since a couple of years the Dutch Marine values, and it's my wish to have also Peshmerga values, because the values decide your behavior and your team behavior. So if you want to improve on team behavior, let's decide on 3 or 4 Peshmerga values. And one in there is strength, because the resilience and the perseverance from the Peshmerga forces is by far I've never seen before. And honor is also something really that's in the force already. The one I really like to add is unity. Let's unify the forces. And if you use those values in the recruitment training or the officer training or the NCO training, you will see that you improve your team behavior as well. And in the end, your results.